Does anybody know why we have champagne after ballooning?
No.
All pilots are alcoholics?
No.
No. It actually dates back to man's second flight. Ballooning started in 1783 with two brothers named the Montgolfier brothers. They were from Paris, France. Their father owned a paper factory. One day they were burning some of the waste paper and they watched little bits of it rise up in the smoke. So this gave them an idea. They decided to build some paper bags, hold them over the smoke, watch them rise up. They realized the bigger the bag, the more weight it would carry. So they thought perhaps if they were to build one big enough, maybe man could fly. One thing they were unsure of is whether man could survive off the earth or not. So they decided to do an experiment. They chose a sheep, a rooster, and a duck to be the first pilots. You may wonder why two birds. Well, this was their idea of a controlled experiment. A sheep would stay on the ground, a rooster could only fly low, but a duck could fly up high. So they could figure out what altitude man would survive to. So they cut the ropes, let them go. They flew up to about 1,000 feet for about 10 minutes, came crashing down, but they all survived. This was fabulous. They had a machine they could fly in, and they now knew they could survive off the earth. Now all they needed was permission from the king, King Louis XVI. They went to see the king, showed him some of the experiments. He thought this was a great idea, decided to invite people from near and far, have man's first flight out of his courtyard, November 21st, 1783. Nearly 400,000 people attended. They built a balloon big enough for two men. In the middle they burned straw and manure. It made lots of smoke. That's what they thought would make it rise. The pilots were given great big long sticks with wet cotton on the end so they could try to extinguish the balloon if it were to catch fire. Anyway, they're all ready to go. The king asked the brothers to step on board. Both brothers refused. They promised their father that morning they would not fly in the balloon. So the king thought, no problem, all these people, who would like to come forward and fly? No one came forward. So now he has a dilemma. Balloon's ready to go. All these people watching, nobody to fly. He yells to his guard, off to the gallows, get me some prisoners. We'll have a flight today. So off the guard goes to get the prisoners. Well, he's gone, the queen, Marie Antoinette. She whispers to the king, my king, this is a horrible idea. If these men fly and survive, they'll be world heroes. And we'll look like fools for sending up convicts, condemned men. Of course, we'd have to let them go. Well, the king didn't like to let people go. So he sent them back to jail. I'm sure they were very happy. They got to go back to jail. Didn't have to be test pilots. So finally the king decided he'd offer a grand prize if anyone would step forward and fly. It took several minutes, but finally one nobleman, he stepped forward. His name was Pilatre de Rosier, hence the name pilot in aviation today. Along with him, he brought a good friend, probably kicking and screaming. His name was Copilatre. No. His name was Marquis de Lalande. Paying attention. Marquis de Lalande. So they both stepped on board the balloon, they cut the ropes and off they flew. It was very windy that day. They traveled a great distance into the French countryside. They came crashing down into a field. When they hit, both men were ejected from the balloon. This caused the balloon to take flight again by itself. Traveled several more fields. Happened to end up in a farmer's field where all the farmers were out working. Now it came crashing down, billowing smoke, starting to set the crops on fire. The only thing they'd ever seen fly before was a bird. So they thought perhaps this was a demon sent to destroy their crops. They band together with their pitchforks and scythes and went out to attack the balloons. As they're attacking the balloon, the pilot and co-pilot are running across the fields trying to catch up. I guess from a great distance away, it looked like they were rising from the ground, emerging from smoke, coming to save this great beast. So the farmers turned on them. They narrowly escaped with their lives. They ran away. They made it back to Paris, went to see the king, told the king, forget it, we can't fly these things anymore. Every time we land, we'll be attacked and killed. So, at that time, the king came up with an idea. He was the only one who could issue champagne at that time. Was directly from the king, so he decided to give each pilot a bottle to fly with. Upon landing, he was to give it to the landowner, show him the label, to prove that they were Frenchmen, they were not demons, and the king had sanctioned such a flight. So we carry their tradition on today. Unfortunately, the cheetah don't drink champagne. They're the only landowners I saw. So we're going to have to drink all the champagne.
And it's not French champagne. Okay, catch the cork in your glass. You're tomorrow's pilot. Okay.
Yeah, don't duck out of the way.
Thank you, Don.
You're quite welcome.